Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Ancient Epics, the place where the greatest stories of humanity come back to life. Long ago, in the shadowed halls of old European courts, a tale was whispered that still sends a chill through the listener. Every dawn, 12 royal princesses rose from their beds with shoes so utterly shredded that no cobbler in the kingdom could explain it. For the soles were worn through as if the maidens had danced upon broken glass and burning coals the entire night. Yet their bedchamber door was locked, the windows barred, and not a single guard had heard a footstep. Kings offered their crowns to any man who could solve the mystery, and those who failed vanished forever, their heads struck from their shoulders at sunrise. This is the dark and shimmering fairy tale known to the Brothers Grimm as the 12 Dancing Princesses, a story far older than the printed page, rooted in forgotten rites, hidden waterways, and the dangerous allure of forbidden worlds beneath the earth. Come closer to the fire now, and let the old tale unfold. There was once a king who dwelt in a great stone castle ringed by dark forests and silver rivers, a castle whose foundations still echo in the medieval strongholds along the Rhine and the Moselle. This king had 12 daughters, each more beautiful than the last, with hair like spun moonlight and eyes bright as the evening star. They were his pride, his treasure. Yet every morning when the servants entered the princess's chamber, they found the same bewildering sight. 12 pairs of satin dancing slippers lay in tatters, the delicate leather soles pierced and ragged as though the girls had whirled through thorns and over sharp stones until dawn. New shoes were brought each evening, costly slippers embroidered with pearls and silver thread, and each morning they too were ruined beyond repair. The king's brow grew heavy with worry and anger, for no one could explain how his guarded daughters left their locked room, nor where they danced, nor with whom. He summoned his council, and after many days of grave deliberation, he caused a proclamation to be nailed upon the castle gate and read in every village square. Any prince or knight who could discover the secret of the princesses' shoes within 3 nights would choose one daughter as his bride and inherit the kingdom after the king's death. But should he fail, his life would be forfeit. Word spread swiftly on the wind, carried by merchants and minstrels, and soon princes arrived from distant lands, their armor gleaming, their hearts bold with ambition. One after another they accepted the challenge. Each evening they were given a grand chamber beside the princess's own, with a goblet of wine offered by the eldest sister herself, and each morning the executioner's axe fell, for the mystery remained sealed. The heads of the proud rolled across the courtyard stones until the king himself began to despair that any living man could pierce the enchantment. At last there came to the castle a soldier, wounded from many battles, no longer young yet strong in limb and keep in mind. He had fought in far countries and had learned to listen to the whispers of old women and the counsel of the earth itself. On the road to the castle, he met an ancient crone cloaked in shadow, gathering herbs beneath an oak older than any kingdom. She looked upon him with eyes like still forest pools and said, "You seek the king's reward, but death walks close behind the others. Take this cloak woven from the night itself. When you wear it, none shall see you. And whatever you do, do not drink the wine the eldest princess will offer you tonight." The soldier thanked her kindly, took the cloak of invisibility, and continued on his way. When he stood before the king, he accepted the challenge with quiet courtesy, and that evening he was led to the antechamber that opened into the princess's room. The 12 sisters entered in their white nightgowns, laughing softly among themselves, their bare feet silent on the cold flagstones. The eldest, whose name in older manuscripts is sometimes Lynette, carried a silver tray bearing a single golden goblet filled with dark wine. She offered it to the soldier with a smile sweet as summer honey, and he took it, raised it to his lips, yet secretly poured the contents into a little sponge hidden in his sleeve, a trick learned long ago on distant battlefields. Then he lay down upon the bed, slowed his breath, and pretended to fall into deep slumber. Soon the princesses heard his steady breathing and believed the sleeping draught had done its work. The eldest clapped her hands thrice, and at once the floor of the chamber trembled. A hidden trapdoor opened beneath the youngest sister's bed, revealing a staircase of polished marble that spiraled downward into darkness. One by one the princesses descended, their white gowns glimmering like ghost fire, the eldest leading, the youngest following last. The soldier, wrapped in the cloak of invisibility, slipped after them unheard and unseen. As they passed along the secret way, he trod upon the hem of the youngest princess's gown, and she paused, whispering, "Something pulled at my dress." But the others laughed and said it was only the wind from the depths. The staircase ended in a wondrous avenue of trees whose leaves were pure silver, shimmering and singing softly as the night breeze touched them. The soldier broke off a small silver twig as proof and tucked it beneath his cloak. The sound of the breaking branch made the third princess start and cry, "Did you hear that?" Yet again her sisters soothed her fears and hurried on. Beyond the silver grove lay another lined with trees of gold, their fruit heavy and luminous as captured sunlight. Again the soldier snapped a golden branch, and again the princesses heard only mystery where there was hidden truth. At last they came to the shore of a great underground lake, black as polished obsidian, its surface unbroken save for 12 little boats with silken sails that glowed faintly in the dark. In each boat waited a handsome prince, tall and pale, clad in rich garments that seemed woven from dusk and starlight. These were no living men but enchanted beings bound to that underworld, condemned or perhaps lured long ago to dance eternally beneath the earth. The princesses stepped lightly into the boats, and the soldier, still unseen, crowded into the vessel of the youngest. The oars dipped without sound, and the boats glided across the water toward a distant palace whose windows blazed with 1,000 torches. Upon the farther shore rose a castle more magnificent than any on the surface of the world, built of jasper and porphyry and roofed with mother of pearl that caught the strange light of that sunless realm. Music drifted from its open doors, wild and yearning, played upon instruments no mortal hand had touched in centuries. The princesses were handed ashore by their silent partners, and all entered the great hall where tables groaned beneath enchanted food and goblets never emptied. Then the dancing began. For hours the 12 sisters whirled and spun across a floor inlaid with lapis lazuli and pearls, their ruined slippers leaving faint traces of blood that vanished like mist. The enchanted princes never tired, their eyes burning with a hunger that was not wholly of this world. The soldier watched from the shadows, marveling at the beauty and sorrow of the scene. For though the princesses laughed, tears sometimes glittered on their cheeks like dew on white roses. At last, when the hidden clocks of that underworld struck the hour before dawn, the music ceased, the princes bowed low, and the sisters were rowed back across the dark lake. Up the marble stair they climbed, the trapdoor closing silently above them, and each slipped into her bed as the first bird of morning stirred in the world above. On the second night and the third the same marvels were repeated, and each time the soldier followed unseen, gathering a silver leaf, a golden fruit, and finally a goblet of enchanted wine that never spilled though the boat rocked upon the waves. On the third morning he laid his treasures before the astonished king, the branches of silver and gold that still glimmered with underworld light, the goblet that refilled itself with dark wine, and the 3 cloaks of invisibility now visible to all. Then he told, in quiet measured words, all that he had witnessed beneath the earth. The king summoned his daughters, and grief and wrath warred upon his face. The eldest fell to her knees and confessed that long ago a wandering sorcerer had shown them the hidden door and bound them with a spell they could not break. For every night they were compelled to dance until their feet bled, prisoners of their own desire and the enchantment laid upon them. The underworld princes were souls caught between worlds, and the palace a place older than any kingdom of men, perhaps a memory of the mines and crystal caverns that lie deep beneath the Harz Mountains, or the ancient salt workings of Hallstatt, where men once descended into glittering darkness seeking treasures of the earth. The king, being both just and merciful, ordered the trapdoor sealed forever with iron and sacred stone. The spell was broken, the underground lake grew still, and the enchanted princes faded into the shadows from which they had come. The soldier, now revealed as wise as he was brave, was offered the hand of any princess he chose. He looked upon the youngest, whose eyes held the gentle sorrow of one who had seen too much beauty in a place of no return, and he chose her. Their wedding was celebrated for 12 days and 12 nights, beneath open skies where real stars wheeled instead of the cold torches of the underworld. And the silver and golden branches were planted in the castle garden, where they grew into trees that bore leaves of real metal, still shown to travelers centuries later as proof that the tale was more than dream. And so the kingdom passed in time to wiser hands, the princesses lived long and gentle lives, and mothers warned their daughters never to long too deeply for dances that have no ending. Thus closes the curtain on this ancient tale of hidden doors and midnight waters, of beauty that lures and nearly destroys, of the thin veil between the bright world and the glittering dark beneath our feet, a story that has been told by firelight for 1,000 years, and will be told for 1,000 more when the stars again look down on sleeping castles and secret stairs that wait beneath old stones. If these ancient voices touched your heart today, please consider subscribing to Ancient Epics and ringing the bell so you never miss the next forgotten tale. Thank you for watching.